it's not that we do get emotionally attached. And this is something that Detective Perry and I have to live through and learn to not let it consume us and go into our personal lives, because we breathe and live these cases so much. I've come in on my off time because I've heard that one of my frequent flyer runaway girls that happen to have many sex trafficking cases that I was trying to build, she was having problems with her mother, and we've gone out there and on our own time and have been involved with her, and a lot of it is building rapport with these girls. These girls are broken down, they're manipulated, when Detective Terry was talking about how they're beat, they're shot up with drugs, they're deprived of food and phone conversations with their family, they're deprived of so much, they're breaking these girls down, and that process is very hard to undo because these girls do not trust anyone. They no longer trust their parents, they don't trust the laws, and a teacher or anyone else that you would normally think that they can go to, they don't trust them. And for us, we've developed these relationships with these girls and trying to just establish that trust and to build a strong case. So it's not a question of how do we not, it's just how do we balance it out. And it's very tough to do. It's very tough to do because we want to save every one of them.
And don't misinterpret that as we're their friends and you call us anytime, because we have way more other cases than just these types of cases, okay? My specialty in particular is sexual assault crimes, and that's not an easy crime to investigate. And then we worked in the youth services unit, which meant any type of crimes against children, any type of crime. So not only are we talking about the cases we're normally assigned, now we're adding this element in there. Now, what do we do to keep ourselves balanced? Work out, go to church. I try to balance the bad cases with my kids. I used to be an advisor with the Explorer program. I'm a youth leader with the kids at my church. I have children. I'm very close to my children. I educate them, spend time with them, and just try to I don't know if this is appropriate, but stay prayed up. Okay? Without faith, this job is nearly impossible. Faith of some sort. When we work together, especially with these crimes, and even now, still, every now and then I'll be like, hey, Sarge, can I talk to you? Man, you're not going to believe this case. We have to have someone to vent to, someone that understands what we're going through, so we have to be able to talk to each other. Sergeant Adams, she's been my mentor for probably the last 20 years, but she probably didn't realize that. She trained me from before I became a police officer, so I have tremendous respect for her. And so she allows us, if we need to or when we need to, when she's available, to come and talk to her just to, oh, thank you so much for listening. Now I'm fine. I can go back and tackle the rest of this. So we have to have our outlets too. Sergeant Ocampo and I, we love to beat the track up. Now, we're not runners per se, but we will get out there. And, because, you still have to have that fresh air, the sunshine, the vitamin C, and all those things to help reduce the stress that goes along with these types of cases.
I do a lot of brainstorming too.
But also, you want to know why it's so prevalent now. It's horrible to say, but first we had to worry about drugs, correct? Well, you can only sell the drug one time, right? But I can sell the child over and over.
That's right.
So that's why it's growing the way it's growing. It's also growing because it's under the radar, we don't notice it. And some of the biggest times of child sex trafficking is your Super Bowl, your big conventions. Those are the highest times that our kids are trafficked. And to break sex trafficking down, there's sex trafficking where your kids taken and they're gone. But there's nightly trafficking. You have kids who go to school every day and they're trafficked at night. You also have kids who go home every day, they're home at night, but they're trafficked on the weekend. So it's not necessarily they're taking them out of the area. They're right here, but they're just trafficked on the weekend and they're trafficked at night. If you go to KCEN News and put in child sex trafficking, you meet a young lady who lives here. Sex trafficking wasn't a known thing. So unfortunately, when the police picked her up, she was picked up and arrested as a teenage prostitute. Because that next question was never asked. You know, the next question wasn't asked. So she got let go, and it became back and forth to her until she even became a foster child, and she ran away from the foster home to go back to him. You know, because that's what the life she was living, and she was used to it. And she thought it was her only life until finally she's out of it now. Now she goes back and she does talk to people about it, and she talks to kids about it. But she went to KISD school, she went to Eastward Elementary School, I can say that now. She went to Eastward Elementary, but she was right here. And you know, when I met her and I talked to her, because I belonged to the round table, I felt bad because I lived here at the time. Not that I knew her, but it's just the whole thought of his child was, you know, out there at night, and I was, you know, thinking that everything was okay, you know, and I felt really bad about it. And so I connected with her, but also I don't know if you should know too, along with the round table, you have different crews, and you have a street crew. The street crew patrol, they go around, they're on the streets, they go to the certain clubs. In Central Texas, in Bell County, there's 5 clubs they go to, so I won't say where they are. There's 5 clubs that they go to, and the women that dance in the clubs, some of them aren't dancing because they want to. They're dancing because they've been trafficked, and that's their job to do. They will go up there and ask the women, you know, are you okay? And can you talk? The women will say, no, I can't talk, but I'm okay. They'll give them a bag of chocolate, so if I give her a bag of chocolate, her pimp or her buyer, he won't care about that because he'll give her a bag of chocolate. But in the bag of chocolate is a phone number for her to call if she can or she needs to. So that's done in Bell County, yes, Killeen too. We discussed the clubs, but we won't talk about that. But we have there are different things going on not to prevent it, to stop it, that are going on, and we belong to the round table. And the round table, what we do at the round table is we discuss exactly what we're talking about now. Better ways to get the information out. If I can talk to 3 people, that's 3 people. After I joined the round table and became I used my show, and I'm Trey back there, my station manager. I know I drive him crazy back there. Very. Because I get hyped on something and then that's it. So, but you know, my intention when I partner with the police department is we need to all partner. All of us need to be all partners. You should be our partner. We all should be one partner because we got to get rid of this. And like I said, it's our kids. And their kids from 9. They started at age 9. Except for we learned in Bell County, the youngest was 9 months.
There was a gentleman also trying to traffic his 4-year-old daughter that he was drugging her and putting photos of her on websites like Backpage. Backpage has been shut down for anyone that doesn't know, so that was major. I gotta cut it up. That was major. That was major. Backpage has been shut down, and that is absolutely wonderful. I do know that something else is going to pop up, but if we keep staying on it, we can keep getting it shut down. And that's the point of this right here. Because for us, to know it got shut down, that's huge. That makes us feel good. Even though something else is going to pop up, but we can get that shut down too. So I think that's going to be the big thing. But this gentleman that was trafficking his 4-year-old daughter, so I say that to say pimps don't look like Snoop Dogg. Pimps look like us right here in this room. So I know you think about pimps and you think about the 70s and the old movies and the hats and the Cadillacs and the fur coats and the shoes. That's not today. Today, It's everyone in this room, anyone in this room. So I think that that's where we have that sense of, oh, well, that Miss Jones can't be trafficking nobody. Oh, but Miss Jones is trafficking. Because that's what we're not paying attention to. We're not paying attention to those signs because we don't realize that it could be anyone in this room. We don't realize that the traffickers today look like us. They don't look like Snoop Dogg or the pimps or different things, just like how we do things. Sergeant Ocampo, we were talking about this the other day, and she talked about the post that has Snoop Dogg and Martha Stewart next to each other, and it asks, who's the felon? That's Martha Stewart because it's not Snoop Dogg. So that's what we're talking about here. Who are you actually looking at? Who is that person that you're looking for? And we're talking about that 4-year-old child being trafficked by her father because trafficking happens by parents. Yes. There's another lady on this website, on the video that we showed, she was sold by her mother to her trafficker for drugs. So think about that. It's your parents, it's your friends, it's your family, it's folks that you don't know, or somebody that just took the time to talk to you and won you over. So you have that. Who do you think are most trafficked? When we talk about our youth and we talk about that, you saw the Woodlands. The Woodlands, that it's some money in the Woodlands. That's not Gilmer. There's some money in the Woodlands. There had 8 women and 42 cars came in one day for 8 women. Come on, guys. 42 cars in one day for 8 women. That seems unbelievable, but they showed it to us. That's the type of stuff that's happening. That's what we have to pay attention to. Those people paid attention. They only had 6 houses on the block. So when that many cars started coming, they started paying attention. That's what we're asking you. Pay attention to what's going on. Let our neighbors know, hey, we need to start paying attention to this. These are the type of things that we need to be looking at. And as Ms. Jones talked about, we did used to think, because why? The police were not educated on what trafficking was. Honestly, what did we think trafficking was? That it happened with more Asian cultures, that it happened overseas, that it wasn't something that actually happened here. So when we saw young ladies out on the street prostituting, we didn't know. So we were arresting them for prostitution, not knowing that they had been trafficked into that life. And that's part of the problem. And once again, at the time, we were just not educated enough to know that because there was not enough education going around about it. That's why we're here today, to educate ourselves, to make sure that more people know about it, and that the more people we tell, the more people you can tell. You know, that's going to be the major thing. Do you guys have any more questions?
Was that the man that was arrested, was he sent to 40 years, was he sent for sex trafficking or was he sent for drugs?
He was sent for sex trafficking.
Oh.
Yes, ma'am.
And I think also Sergeant Adams, you made a pretty good comment there, said with these, John, my daughter studied this at Tuskegee University, and she was watching this video on sex trafficking, and she wanted to know what did the guys say to these girls that will lure them into, you know, coming with them. And you made a comment, they would talk to, these guys would talk to them. So, you know, we in a community, what we need to do too is to talk to our girls and tell them, you know, you're special, you know, you're beautiful. That's what those Johns or those guys are telling the girls, you know, you're special, you're beautiful. So, that, I mean, this telling someone, one person can change the life of a child. So if we start telling our girls, you know, they're pretty and they're attractive or they're special, that would kind of help too, I think, combat them from
You're absolutely right. I feel that it starts at home to begin with.
Exactly.
If you are involved as a mother, as a father, a guardian, whatever the case may be in your home, you are involved with your child. You may not just be saving your child, but your child's best friends. I can't tell you how many times we've got cases, and not just specifically over sex trafficking, but child abuse in some form, whether it's physical or sexual abuse from somebody in the home, in their home. And we got this case because a little girl or a child said something to their mom, and their mom picked up the phone and call the law enforcement agency to us, and we investigated it. Those are outcry witnesses, and they have proved time after time to be very, very, very vital in our investigations. But like you were saying, it starts with reassuring your child with confidence. And the biggest thing that I've noticed is those children with idle time on their hands. You have to keep your children busy. You have to know everything about your child. And I know that is very difficult to do, especially with a lot of single parents or temporary single parents with their spouses deployed or whatever the situation may be. You're a shift worker. Sometimes you're not always there. We know that. But you have to be involved with your children, or you have your child involved in some kind of extracurricular activities. Have them accountable. Look into these things are wonderful, but they are evil. They let your child into this evil side of this world, and you just got to know what your child is doing. You got to look at their apps. What apps are they using? There's a lot of apps out there that make your messages disappear. You'll never know the content, the pictures that they're taking, the sex messaging that they're doing. And then not only that, and I know Facebook is becoming more of an antiquated thing for children nowadays. They're doing, the Kick and the Snapchat and all the other apps that I can't keep up with, but the girls, the children, they put their information out there. I'm lonely, I'm tired, or FML, whatever, and they're starting a dialogue. And what happens, these other kids or juveniles or adult males or even women, they target these girls and they friend them. They start wooing them with, charming them. You have to stay on top of your child. Know who their friends are. Know who they are talking to. Look through their phone. Who are they texting? Who are they calling? And their text messages are not going to come up on their little text app. It's going to come up on a third-party text because they don't want mom and dad to find out.
I think the other thing too, like someone tried to take my daughter, and we're really close, but this guy, she had a job, and he said, so I was taking back and forth to work, and one day this guy at work said, I'll take you home. She said, okay, Mom, you don't have to come pick me up. I said, okay. Are you sure? She said, yeah, we're fine. So he brings her down, brings her home. Next day, she said, oh, he's going to take me to work. I said, okay, you sure? He takes her to work, and then by the third time, she changed. She had changed. And I said, well, what? I said, what's wrong? I said, well, you already seem so different. Well, so I went up to the job because I knew some of her friends. And I found out that this guy told her that if she didn't go out with him, he was going to hurt her mom. So we do have a lot of loving kids. These guys are telling that I'll hurt your little sister, I'll take your little sister. So it's not all, always about, it's not always about the kids or girls or young people doing something.
They're close to or who they love.
Right. We have a lot of loving kids, and they'll work on them that way, loving kids. So I just went up there. I just said, you don't have to. I went up there to the job, everybody coming out. We're not going to do this. We're not going to do this. We're not going to, just going to stop right here.
But you have to do that. You have to. You saved your daughter.
Yeah, you have to.
Because had you not stepped in, you don't know what the next.
I don't know what would. Yeah, and that's before I knew about sex trafficking too. But so there's a lot of good parents out there that like you said, you've got to know your kids. So if you know notice a change or something, and you know that you need to start looking.
I'd like to add on to the other side of that. That is absolutely correct. You have to know your children. You have to be involved in their lives. But we also have to think about those children whose parents are not involved in their lives. And like Ms. Jones said earlier, hey, how you doing? Go up and talk to that kid. Or if you see a child and it's just something not right about them, I have no problem walking up to a child or a young person even and say, hey, you look sad. I'm not going to hurt you. And, I know that's what they can also say. But if it's something, I say a quick prayer, Lord, give me the words, and make contact. Hey, how are you doing? You look sad. Do you need some help with something?
Yes.
And they will be able to tell if they're good or not. Because young folks and kids pick up on that. It's no different than our kids in our house. If we're not having a good day, they know something's wrong with mom. Like, let me just hysterically or hurted me, or whatever the case may be. But we have to think about those children who are victims of their environment.
Right.
Okay?
But they don't see themselves as a victim.
They
That's
don't
a way of
know.
life.
They don't know.
They don't
You're right.
know
They don't know.
that they're victims of their environment, and you will have that child. Why are you talking to me?
Why do you care so much?
Because I can. You know, or whatever it dictates, you know. But again, you have to have a heart for that type of thing. You have to genuinely want to help, because that kid will be able to tell, oh, you full of it. Get away from me. I'm not talking to you. I'm cool. And you know that that's not the case. If there are any educators outside of Ms. Jones in the room, oh gosh, you guys are golden. Golden. Because you see sometimes what parents may miss. Because you'll see a kid come to school, and if you know that student, you know maybe they didn't leave home like that. You know what I'm saying? Or maybe when mom and dad are around, that's not the same group of kids they hang out with. So you'll see that.
Or either we'll see the, because I'm always on the girls, the 5th grade girls, because they're in that little whiny, grown and stage all together. But you'll see them come to school with some jeans on and a shirt, then they go to the bathroom and come back and you go, whoa. You know, so I'm the one to go, hey, excuse me, but that's not what you had on when you went to the bathroom. And you know, and they will, how you know? Because I was watching you. I said, so I need us to do one thing. We're going to go back in the bathroom and we're going to put on what you had. You're going to give me those clothes and we give them to the principal. You know, and you can't make me do anything. I guess I really can't. So, but you know, and I get forceful with it because I know what I see and I know what they don't see. You know, and even though she in school with that on all day, I don't know what's going to happen. You know, because kids do leave school. Even elementary kids will leave the campus in a heartbeat. You know, but yeah, I'm watching all the kids. Then the boys too, because boys are trafficked also. You forgot, yeah, boys are trafficked also. We also need to remember some of the buyers are women. Because women, we're nurturers.
Right.
We can pick up a kid real easy because we have the nurturing part of us. So women do it also. So when we talk about kids, tell our kids about the men, we got to tell them about the women too.
Also. And we also have to educate our boys.
Yes.
Okay, we can't just say, okay, you're a boy, you know, you're good. No, we have to educate our boys as well. And we have to set an example as women. If we have sons and nephews in our lives, we have to make them respect women. We have to show them, you will open the door for me. You will, well, at least at my house, that's how it was. But, you know, we have to educate our boys to become men of character. Men who will stand up for what they see as wrong. Exactly. Any other question?
Go ahead.
But like, I agree with what y'all are saying because like I'm not an educator, but like I want to do something kind of like that when I'm older. But as like a student, I'm in my last year of high school.
So how old are you, baby?
I'm 18 now.
You're 18.
Right.
Okay. We appreciate you being here for sure.
But yeah, so like what y'all are saying is like I remember being younger and seeing like it's mostly the girls who have like the lower self-esteem. Like when I was younger, I had really low self-esteem. It was a lot easier to be approached by anybody. Like I had like a couple situations that happened that could have resulted in what's happening now. But I don't know. Like, my question really was, what can like I do if I see something myself? Because a lot of kids will not listen to adults.
Right.
So it's like, what can I do? And what can I like, tell my friends to do? Because like a lot of times we like don't want to be snitches or we don't want to be nosy and stuff like that, but we really have to be.
The pamphlets that I gave you when you first came in has all of that information on there. It has a telephone number that you can give them, hey, just call this number. You can, if you just need to talk to somebody, if you need to reach out to somebody or reach out to me, call me and I'll let you know, or let's go to the police. And if they, no, I don't want any of that, steer away from that. Give them the other telephone numbers because that's not the police. A lot of folks are afraid of the police when they shouldn't be. Because truly, we are here to help. That's what we're here for. You've listened to the stories that we've told. You can't tell us, nobody can walk out of this room and think that we don't care about the jobs that we do. So when you talk to your friends and you reach out to them, tell them, hey guys, this type of stuff is happening. You need to be aware of it because this is not the type of life that you want to end up in, the type of life that you want to live. I have telephone numbers. I know the telephone number. Put it in your phone. We put everything else in our phone. Put that telephone number in your phone so you can give it to them. Hey, take this telephone number. Do this. Or contact this group. Contact Traffic 911. Is it traffic or trafficking? Traffic 911. Make sure, yeah, with the CK. So make sure you contact them. Reach out to the other groups if they don't want to reach out to law enforcement, or continue to tell them to reach out to you.
Yeah.
Because guess what? If you stand by their side and you're there for them, then they'll start talking and they'll start doing what you want them to do.
We do a lot of events. I have a safety company, so I do a lot of events in the community, and I come across a lot of women and girls.
Okay.
I can often tell right from the way their energy they're giving me. I'm talking to about products and safety, but I can also tell there's something else going on.
Right.
Is it okay if her and I, we take cards or we just make our own flyers? Because sometimes it's easy when I'm giving out flyers. If I can throw that in their bag.
We do have some cards
like a small,
that,
like little cards I can throw in the bag.
we definitely have some, so we have that you can hand out, and we have to make sure that it's this information that's on there, because that's what's going to be important. We can't put information on there that's
I don't want to put. I often have flyers from other
right.
things.
Yes, ma'am. So yes, we definitely have some cards that we can give you to be able to do that, and we appreciate the job that you do as well. Thank you for doing that and going out and doing the stuff like that, ma'am. You had a question also?
Oh, yes. I was just going to make a comment because I am an educator, and I was speaking with Phyllis, and she was telling me how you get another identifying sign is like maybe a tattoo from the victim. And I hate to say it, but since she's told me that, I actually go around in my school looking for that sign. But I would say, why, if that was the case, why would it be so visible if they have like a pimp, so to speak? Why wouldn't they have that sign concealed? Like, cause like middle school, I'm in middle school. Everybody knows you have to be at least 18 or above and get parental. When you do, if you see a student, I have never seen a student with a tattoo or anything under the age of 18, but I do look for it. But so that's kind of like was my comment / question. Why would it be so revealing, where it could be reported if a child under age has a tattoo?
So you know what they're going to. I want my money.
It is like brand. Exactly.
It's a brand.
Like I have schools and house, they're branded to know that they belong to me. Now the thing you have to think about also, tattoos are, almost everybody have a tattoo now. It's not, even kids under the age of 18, because you have some parents that don't see a problem with tattoos. There are many kids under the age of 18 that have tattoos and piercings. So it's not just, oh, they have to be 18 or they have to have parental consent. There are a lot of kids with parental consent. But one thing that you have to think about too is that a lot of these kids are runaways. A lot of these kids are homeless. We're talking about 86% of these children are in some type of foster or runaways or homeless. Now, don't get me wrong. That's not because they're coming from all bad homes.
Right.
Some of them are coming from homes of parents that care, of parents that are involved, but they just left. Because you have kids that do that. Every kid is not gonna listen to this. Yes, mom took my cell phone, I'm mad. I can't play Xbox this weekend, I'm out. So those are things that you have to think about. So the branding is there. The young lady in the back, what's your name, sweetheart? Mecca. Mecca hit it right on the head. It is branding. And once again, Mecca's 18 years old, and she's here because she is wanting to make a difference, and that's exactly where it starts at, is making a difference with that. And when you think about the trafficking of the kids, understand that, once again, we left out the young men and the boys earlier, but it's boys, it's women, it's girls, it's men. People are being trafficked, and it is happening right here in our homes. So let's do something about it.
Right, and for the purpose of child sex trafficking, it's the age of 18 and younger for child sex trafficking. Also, Trafficking is the act of force, fraud, or coercion to make them do things against their will. By force, they're gonna physically make you do this. The young lady tied up on the bed, you know, she's kicking and screaming, it doesn't matter. Fraud, you are so beautiful. I heard you tell your friend that, you know, you're not getting an allowance for your mom. I know a way that you can make some money. Okay, you know, if you just do this for me, because you know you are my girl, and if you do this for me, you can have everything you want. They're finesse.
Freedom.
You can have freedom. You don't have to answer to your parents. I'll take care of you. And then coercion. You know, I know where you live. I know you have a little brother and a little sister. I know your parents go to this school or they go shop here every Thursday. You don't do this, I'm
And
gonna
some
hurt
of the
them.
cases that we've worked, we've seen that more than anything.
Yes.
Which one?
The
is it?
coercion, using
Yeah.
the family member people and the things.
Like
they
what
love.
you talked about.
Mhm.
Yeah.